So, um, would you say you've got like a favorite film based on like a completely original concept? So we're talking like no, like not based on a book, not based on a prequel or a sequel, anything like that. Just like a completely original property.
Um, I'm gonna say now. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure it's original. Super bad. That is the
Yeah. Oh.
first film I ever watched on Netflix. I remember my aunt had the DVD and I was watching it at her house one time, but I fell asleep. I thought it was about superheroes or some shit. I was young. It was whatever. But yeah, I really like that film, and I think that's
I
it.
love Superbad's great.
What about you?
I I have also gone down a comedy route. I think the first thing that popped to mind for me was Hot Fuzz.
Oh yeah,
Um, yeah, I think I don't know. I'm one of those people who like if you look at the Cornetto trilogy, like some if you ask me on any given day, some days my favorite will be Shaun of the Dead. Other days will be Hot Fuzz. But I feel like the one I gravitate towards the most is Hot Fuzz. Like I quote Hot Fuzz in everyday life. I mean
mm.
I quote Shaun of the Dead in everyday life as well. But I quote Hot Fuzz way more. Yeah,
Sound. I
pretty solid film.
I do think Baby Driver's a good one though. Didn't really think of that.
Oh baby. Oh,
That is a good one.
didn't think. Yeah, I, I saw Baby Driver like what like four times in the cinema or
Yeah,
something ridiculous like
I remember I showed it
that.
at some film club we had in college that we had to do like every
I
Tuesday or
remember
something.
this.
I showed it. I was like, I really wanted to show the films, but only like the people in the year above could show films. But then like they asked, oh, who in like the first years wants to show a film? And I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna show. Everyone enjoyed it because like once you watch it and like you finish it, you go, oh, so who enjoyed that? And everyone put their hand up. No one said they didn't like it. And every week there's always someone
Yeah,
who's like
yeah.
doesn't like a film or whatever, and it just wasn't their thing. Nah, everybody liked it, and that was my proudest moment in college. Not getting a
Look at
distinction
that little
on
spark.
my work or anything.
That's overrated. Anyone can get a distinction. It's like yeah. Like, all
Yeah,
you have to do for that is like what revise, do work. But
yeah,
no, to have truly good movie taste,
hell yeah.
that's a gift.
The two dumb cousins out, they're watching movies.
Hey there, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Reinventing the Real. We hit it. We've done it. Episode 10.
10 episodes. You love to see it.
That's crazy.
I'm so happy we got here. Not that we
Feels
weren't
like
going to get here. That sounds like I
feels
had
like
doubts. I had
oh
no doubts. I knew we were going to get here. But it's still like a little milestone, isn't it? It's the first 10. We're in the tens now. They're
yeah.
getting to that awkward teen
It's
stage.
crazy.
They're going to be a little bit more edgy. Who knows? They're discovering
A little bit of hair
themselves.
growing under
Yeah,
their arms.
but it's fine.
Start listening to like Blink 182 shit like that.
Yeah, but who knows?
Don't waste your time on me. Yeah. I feel like I reference that song way too often.
Oh god, there's a group in my uni who do it. But anyway, forget about that. What are we doing this week?
Anyway,
What's the
this
shtick?
week I'm very excited for this week because this week is. I feel like I saw a lot of feedback. Like I don't know about you, but did you get any feedback for last week's episode?
No, not personally.
Uh, I got so my mum listens to the podcast. Big shout out to Linda.
Woo!
Come on,
Hell yeah!
she's probably just sat there now. She's like, yeah, okay, I see you. But yeah, my mum listens to the podcast, and every Saturday when we drop it, I'll get a message from her, like just randomly. She'll be like, "What the hell was that? What's going on?" So a piece of feedback that I got from her was, "Oh, that so the chaotic energy is back." And that's because you can tell when we have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah.
We just bounce from idea to idea.
How are
This
we
week's
gonna
gonna
make
be a lot
Tyler
like
like
that.
into TLC? Like what? But yeah, this week is gonna be a lot like
It's
that
gonna be crazy.
because
Uh,
a real
Because?
first. Cameron and Curtis make a movie. Alright. Oh
We
wait,
make
pitch
a
a movie,
movie.
but whatever.
Yeah.
So we're not going off the back of
I'm-
anything this week. All we've done so
No.
far at this moment, like prior to beginning this, we randomized what genre it's going to be. So we threw things in there like a documentary, drama, rom-com, action,
adventure.
horror, all those kind of things. And we got... What did we get?
We got rom-com, baby.
Yeah! It's one I was probably looking forward to the most. I can't lie.
Yeah.
I like a good rom-com, especially when it's in the perspective of the guy, because, you know, I can relate to that. Kind of. Not fully, but, you know.
God damn it, these women in films, I can't relate to them.
But, so all that's left to do now is to just, you know, run the game changes, because we're still going to have those, you know. We can't just go, yeah, we got this idea, this is what we're going to do. No, there needs to be a little bit of... There needs to be a random element in there. Fate has to take hold.
Did we say what genre we got?
Yeah, rom-com. Sorry if it broke up.
Oh yeah, so sorry.
Dab, Discord.
Yeah. It's a bit of a tricky one, isn't it? Because like I can see you, but like every now and then. Anyway, so what we do? So we're spinning the randomizers, then, yeah.
Yep.
Alright, let's do it.
Spin that reel.
Okay, we have to make the film rated R.
Okay, all right.
I feel like, ooh. I was like, it's very easy with a rom-com. You could just have it like, you know,
Raunchy sex scenes. Oh,
exactly.
Disgusting.
But what if we went a different reason for being rated R?
Like?
We'll
have to see.
We'll have to see. Wait and find out. Yeah. I've just spun it again, and we got all male cast.
Okay. Well,
Cool.
looking like we're gonna have to go against our heterosexuality here, unless we have someone in drag, which wouldn't be a problem either. But
And for the final one, we got. The director has to have a cameo.
oh boy,
So that's.
look at us coming back in. Cameraman and mic man.
Oh. Okay, so as mentioned before, I feel like the best way to get into this is to just get into it.
Yeah, why not?
Like, so we're doing a rom-com. What are some of the tropes of a rom-com? We're talking. What kind of relationship do we want? Do we want like friends to lovers, enemies to lovers, two people who don't like each other and they're trapped in a place and then they decide they love each other, a love triangle? You know, there's countless of them. I only know all this because my little sister watches a lot of rom-coms, so it's easy to just to just barrel these off.
Well, I think the one where like the one that's done the most is their enemies and turned to lovers or whatever. I feel like I don't know. I feel like some of the best rom-coms are kind of in situations that we don't really see. Like, I'm not saying it's an amazing rom-com, but the one that comes to mind is Blended, where they're like, it's a getaway retreat for blending families.
Oh, I fucking love Blended. When one person meets another, come together. Sensational film. Sensational film. I watched it a few months ago because it popped up on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way I'm not going to watch this movie. Like, I remember when it came out, and like, you went to go see it, didn't you?
Yeah, I saw it at the cinema.
Yeah, then I remember, like, I watched it online or something, and I was just doing the Terry Crews like titty dance, just like. Yeah, I was just about to ask you. So, let's start at a baseline. what rom-coms do we like? So if we both bring like maybe 2 or 3 to the table, we can look at them and be like, right, what are some commonalities in these films? What can we, like, what aspects can we take? Because I feel like if you pick like 2 or 3 each, that's a wide enough sample that you can be like, oh, this is what sticks out, you know?
500 Days of Summer. That probably doesn't count
I was
as a
no, I'll take
it's
that.
loose comedy. There's comedy in it,
Yeah,
but it's kind of like tragic comedy, you know.
I really like I with 500 Days of Summer. It's a film that it's kind of grown with me.
Yeah, you
So
appreciate it
I
more
remember when I watched it when I was younger.
Yeah, yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. Like, I was very much on Tom's side when I was younger. And I was like, oh, why won't she love him?
Yeah.
Oh, and then I watched it again, like, a few years ago. And I was like, yeah, no. I mean, she didn't want a relationship.
Yeah.
She was quite upfront with his Mr. Sad Boy. Oh, look at me. I listen to the Smiths and wear a lot of beige. I'll take that, though.
Yeah.
Okay, I take 500 Days of Summer and I raise you a 10 Things I Hate About You.
I've only seen like half of that film, I can't lie to you. And it was the last half. Probably not even the last half. But probably going to get a lot of hate for that. But maybe that could be my homework for next episode, to watch that one. Watch that.
To go and see it?
Yeah.
Alright, okay, cool. Bet. You have to watch it by next episode.
Oh yeah,
I'll
that's
ask you
fine.
about it.
Definitely.
It's on Disney Plus. Okay, so a commonality that I've already picked out between the two is that they both have Joseph Gordon-Levitt in.
There you go. So now we know who we're casting.
Yeah? What? No.
What? Go
I
for
was
it.
like, what if this is like a backdoor prequel to The Emotionals? But I was like, no, stay focused. It has to be a rom-com.
Abby.
Or does it? Ooh. I mean, we'll keep it in the back. Okay. I'm trying to think. What other rom-coms do I like? Oh, I mean, like ones that I've watched with my sister.
Uh-huh. You need to get your sister on the show.
I'll tell you one
time.
I hate.
Sorry.
We should get her on the show because I feel like I reference her quite a lot. Like
Yeah.
whenever like something like
Mhm.
quite girly comes. Yeah. Yeah, we can get that sorted. I mean, yeah.
She's gonna be you in drag.
Anyway. What a beautiful chocolate man.
What else? I can't think of any. Yeah, let's do.
I was gonna say Don John. I really like the film Don John, but it's barely a rom-com.
Yeah.
And it also stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
He's in them all.
He really is. He's gotten around, hasn't he?
What about
rom-coms?
It's an all-male cast, isn't it? We have to do.
Yeah,
So
we do.
I don't know how you want to go about this.
Okay.
But one to kind of look at then maybe would be Love, Simon, if we're going along the route of two guys.
Like the LGBT.
Yeah. So that's probably.
I
don't know if that's.
I didn't watch Love, Simon when it came out.
No.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, right. This isn't one with like a guy
Yeah, I
in
really
it.
like Love, Simon.
And what's my favorite or whatever? I mean, it probably is my favorite, but the kissing booth. So have a look at that. What about that?
So, what? So, do you want to go like semi-serious, or should we go for the most like schlocky Netflix original, like the Kissing Booth-esque kind of film? Or is that, should we do something like that?
Might have to leave it up to like a
Or would you
coin
wanna go
toss
more
or something
serious?
because I wouldn't mind doing it serious. However, I don't want to offend anyone if we're doing a
That is also true.
yeah. But then
Yeah,
again, we can
yeah,
still
okay,
offend
okay,
people if we
yeah,
do schlop in.
this is true.
Oh, this is a hard one.
I say we go serious.
Yeah,
I feel like I
try
feel
it.
like for us, I think it would be easier if we were to just like mess around
Yeah,
and just throw every like stereotype and shit at the wall.
yeah.
So yeah, let's do it. Let's test ourselves. So age range or setting or something. Do we want to go for like younger or like 30s kind of can't get life together kind of age?
Yeah, can do.
Hmm?
Yeah, I think so. All right. Well, how about this? The guy,
Okay.
our main character, he has just gotten out of a divorce, and
Okay.
he's like not happy in life. He's like doesn't know what direction he's going. He thought he had his whole life planned out, but you know,
Like stuff's hit the fan.
yeah, let's say he's got a kid with the wife, or whatever. You don't explicitly see the wife because it has to be an all male cast, but he's got a son,
Yeah.
and he comes in every like now and again with it's like what's her face? Chloe Grace Moretz in that how she's
In
like
500 Days
yeah,
of Summer.
he just like
Yeah.
she pops up every now and then and spits some wisdom. So the son could be like that. And then so maybe he goes to like we just see him like go through daily life, and it's not explicitly said. Maybe he still
Mhm.
lives in the same house. No, I just said we can't see the wife.
Yeah.
Because I want to I would have liked the kind of conflict there of how they're still living together. They're still together for this son, because it would be all strange. But
Yeah. Okay, so what if then the son doesn't know, and they're like keeping up appearances for everyone else and like blah 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 blah, but then they go up to bed and like they walk into their room and they've got the two single beds.
yeah,
So they've each got a bed and they're very like when they're not around each other, that other people they're very like cold and whatnot
yeah.
to each other. Like the love's gone.
I like this idea, and I would, if it was an all male cast, I'd like to do like sort of like a Marriage Story type thing, and it goes through like with both of them
Yeah.
and how they're dealing with it, and what one person's doing and what another person is doing. But let's keep it in line. I think I don't want to change anything
Yeah.
about it, so we'll just stick with the guy.
Like, okay. So like, are we gonna do like? So he was with his wife, and maybe now they're broken up. They're broken
Yeah.
up because he's like recently discovered that that he may not be completely heterosexual.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
Oh, what if?
Mhm.
So what if we make him like bisexual?
Yeah.
So he's like, what if like the love is still there for his? So there's more conflict there.
Oh yeah, could do, yeah. Could be why then they're
And then there's
breaking
like a
up, because
triangle.
he's been messing about.
Yeah.
So
He's like a I don't know what can he be? He's like a journalist or something.
okay.
Like he's writing an art. Yeah. Okay. So let's call him Tom, just because that's the name of his character in 500 Days of Summer. That's
Okay.
the first name that popped in my head. So let's say Tom's a journalist and he's got the perfect wife and the perfect life and blah 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 blah. But it's all a bit samey, Like
Yeah.
it's like so maybe we see a montage at the beginning and it's him waking up at like in Shrek 4.
Oh yeah.
And he's like making breakfast, and then he goes through the day and he gets in the car, but each time they show a different day, like it cuts, so it's shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter.
Yeah.
And then just one day he wakes up and he's like, "Oh, it's just another day. Here we go." Blah blah blah. And he sat at the table with his son and the wife. We can't quite see because
Yeah.
all male cast. And she's like, "Oh, isn't today your big interview or whatever?"
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, oh yeah. And then it cuts to him, and he's off interviewing some like mysterious art guy. What's the word I'm looking for? Artist. That's the word I'm looking for. And this artist is like, oh yeah, hi, I don't know, I can't think of a name. Quick, give me a name.
Fred Durst. The fuck?
Fred Durst. Who's Fred Durst?
He's
Is
an
he not
actor.
From Fred. What's that? Limp Bizkit. Is he in
Or
Limp
he's a
Bizkit?
rapper, yeah. He's not an actor. Sorry. What the fuck?
That's
He is
fine.
Limp
We're using
Bizkit,
Fred
yeah.
Dust. His name's Fred.
Okay. He has been in some films,
So
actually.
he's interviewing Fred Durst, and like Fred Durst just oozes like sexual energy,
Okay.
and they're just talking, and it's like, but you can feel there's like the tension. What are you laughing at?
I just think it's funny, Fred Durst, sorry.
You just keep rolling. So like maybe like they're talking or something, just about like art or whatever. And what's his name? Tom's like, oh, I wish I could still paint like that. You know, I used to paint so much back in college and blah 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 blah. But then then we had my son and I had to get this job and blah 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 blah. So he's lost time. You know,
Yeah.
like he doesn't do it anymore. He hasn't done it in like a decade maybe. So then Fred Durst is like, hey, maybe if you want, we can have some art lessons or art time or something. And he's like, maybe, yeah, I don't know. But there's a lot of, you can feel the tension
Yeah.
in the air. I feel like I'm really not displaying this well.
No.
I think it kills it every time I say Fred Durst. So then maybe he then goes home after the interview, and he's not quite himself, but he's not like the same dead behind the eyes. Like something's happened,
Yeah.
and you can see it,
And
but you don't quite know.
maybe he like he's talked to the son or whatever. He's like, oh, how'd school today? How'd it go today at school? He's like, oh, it was great. You know, we were, I don't know, was something at school that you do something but you're scared to do it. Oh, let's say he was at swimming practice and he was like, yeah, we were jumping off the diving boards and, you know, I was too scared to do it, but, you know, a little push from someone else helped me dive right in. And then that just kicks in his head like, oh, maybe I should take that dive, you know? Maybe I should go for it.
Hey, thanks, son. He looks up at the wife. I'm leaving you. Yeah. And then he's like, it'll cut to him. So you know, like, do you ever like have thoughts and like they come up in your head like a movie, like they're shot like a film?
Yeah. Sometimes when I visualize
Yeah.
the stuff like this, yeah.
So like I'm picturing him like so he's walking to the studio again. No, not again, because he didn't go to his studio last time. Maybe they just met for a coffee or something.
Yeah.
So he's like walking and he's trying to find the studio. He's like looking at his phone, and this is like intercut with him like the night before on the phone, calling him up, and he's like, hey, yeah, I think I'll take you up on that offer, and it'll cut between the two.
Yeah.
And then just as the phone call ends, he's like, yeah, that's fine, cool, I'll see you tomorrow. He buzzes the buzzer to get into his place. And he is played by Peter Dinklage.
Okay. Sure.
So Fred Durst, Peter Dinklage opens the door.
Okay. Oh.
So he's wearing like a Stella Artois vest, so like a white a white vest.
Yeah.
That was a good save. And then he's got on like a like a flowy long sleeve shirt, like an artist, but it's like unbuttoned, and he's got like a cross around his neck or something. You know, he's dressed like a Puerto Rican drug dealer in Miami or something like that. And there's like paint all over him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, is it 4 already? Oh, sorry, I must have lost track of time."
Yeah.
He's like, "Come in." And he has like 2 canvases set up. And he's like, this is your canvas here. And he's like, wow, like he sees Tom sees the work that Fred Durst did before.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh wow, that's really good. Like, what is it in particular? Is there anything in particular? And he's like, I don't know. It's just, I feel like I get inspired by a lot of things. He was like, oh, what inspired you for this one? He's like, just a person I met.
Ooh.
And it just hangs in the air.
Take that, starts
He's like,
playing.
sorry, where are my manners? He's like, come take a seat. Do you want a glass of wine? Maybe some, like a beer or something? He's like, yeah, I'll take a beer if you've got one. And then he sits down, Tom, and he's like, I honestly, mate, I wouldn't even know where to start. So Peter Dinklage comes up behind him and he's like, it's easy, come on, you know how to do this. And he like takes his arm in his hand and he's like, just let the brush be an extension of who you are and what you are. Tom can feel Fred Durst's hot breath on the back of his neck.
Jesus.
The hairs start to stand off one end a little bit. And then I
don't know. Shit. Well, he's like, he maybe fidgets a bit, and he's like, "Oh my god, no!" Or like, "I've got my wife, you know, I've got a wife and son."
Yeah.
He's just like, "Oh, I shouldn't be enjoying this, but I kind of do." And then he's like, "Oh, you paint something." He's like, "Well, no." He's like, he starts him off with the basics, and he's like, "Okay, I'll give you something to do. Maybe, so we'll come back next week. You paint something, and of like, just show it to me next week." And he's like, "Oh, I don't know what to paint." And he's just like, "Oh, just paint how you feel or whatever, or like whatever comes to you." So I'm thinking this film is gonna be like, there's gonna be a series of paintings that come up, and they're like different things of how he's feeling with things. So like, I don't know, maybe there's like a duality type thing of
okay, yeah,
how I'm feeling for my wife and how I'm feeling for you and all that kind of stuff, and how will this affect my son? And you know, like the first thing he paints could be like his son jumping off the diving board or whatever. He's just got a picture, and that was the first thing that's like, you know, put him into, I should be, you know, trying all this new stuff and just going for things and stop waiting around. And then, you know, it comes home, maybe his wife, you don't really see it, like you just see the back of her head or whatever, and she's like, "Oh, do you wanna fool around tonight?" And he's like, "Oh, no, you know, I can't be bothered, you know, just thingy." I really want to go for the perspective of the women as well, but I know I can't, because I'd like to have another thing. Oh, he's cheating, and her finding out and stuff, but can't.
Yeah.
So
I think I know how I want this film to end now.
Right.
Like, it's just through you talking like that, it's just popped up in my head.
Right.
It's just getting there.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say it yet because like.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do we then get the wife's point of view across? Unless if it's not a. I don't know. Unless if it's not a wife, if it is a husband, then.
Oh, and there's like a cheating thing.
But then. Yeah, so it's just like it's just like the cheating, but then I like the idea of like the duality of his two selves and who he is.
Yeah. And
then that would link in quite well with his sexuality as well. But we could still do the duality thing. It's just maybe he's fighting like financial, like maybe okay. So with the duality, then maybe the two halves of him are, for one, who straight out of college, got a job, settled down, got a kid,
Yeah.
very like by the book, and then the other half of him is like, for one who used to like do skydiving and used to paint and blah blah. It's more like the old him, like before he met his husband,
Yeah.
and he thought that part of him was long gone, but it's still within him, and it's being reawakened by Fred Durst, Peter Dinklage. Because if we do it that way, then we can do like the marriage story thing of like the two sides.
Yeah. Okay, so see, then the husband goes to he's talking with someone else. He's like, oh, yeah, I tried something last night and it just shrugged me off. And maybe there's just some friend who's like, oh, or maybe he's like cheated on you or something, and maybe this is a little bit further into the film. Like maybe there's just a montage or you see them, Tom and Fred just meeting up a lot, and them just like having a good time or whatnot, and this person's like getting less and less screen time, the husband, and then it just changes where it's like they have sort of the most, like them finding out. So like, okay, maybe
can I cut in real quick?
Yeah.
Just real quick, I did a randomizer and it came up with Tom Hiddleston. If you want to cast him as the husband,
That's fine. Yeah, sounds good.
yeah. Sorry, you proceed.
So, maybe he's like, oh, take. So this is Fred and Tom. They're talking, and they're like, oh, take me to a place where that inspired your first painting or whatever. He's like, oh well, well, one of your paintings. He's like, oh well, my son's got like a swimming like thing coming up, like a race or whatever, and then so he ends up coming along to that, like, oh yeah, my son told me to dive in, or he said something to me one time about how he just dived into things, and this is kind of like me showing you this or whatever. And obviously the husband's there as well, and he's like, oh, who's this? It's like, oh, this is just it's just Fred. This is
Fred Durst.
Yeah, he's been
No, you have to say the full name.
Fred Durst, sorry. He's been teaching me how to paint and stuff. It's like, oh, painting. Yeah, you've never done that with me, or that sort of thing. It's like, well, you can see there's sort of like resentment there in the conversation, and like how it's very snappy on how they talk. Just like, oh, well, there's a lot of things I've never done with you, sort of thing.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
So that happens, and that's when like they sort of find out about it, and
so has there been like an actual affair? Yeah.
Let's say it's been close. Like there's been a lot of those moments where they've been like close to it, and then there's just like no, and even Fred Durst knows it's wrong, but he can't stop himself.
Sorry.
So, I guess one night the husband goes out, and he's like, oh, I'm just gonna, you've been going out a lot. Let me have my time. I'm going out with some friends, whatever. You have to look after our son.
Yeah.
And that's when the first affair happens. But it's like happening, and it walks in, and it's like, oh, you're doing it in my house. Like our son's in bed asleep and all that
like
sort of
this
thing.
Is our,
Yeah. So.
Oh. What if it doesn't like happen? What if they're just like about to kiss?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
That's when
that could work.
Walks in, and they're like, oh, and he like spill the wine or whatever, and Fred Durst like, I'm sorry, I should go out, and he just picks up his jacket and hops on his Harley and rides off.
Yeah, and that's like.
And then there's like an argument then between, Tom and the husband.
Yeah.
And this is like the big emotional powerhouse of the film.
Yeah.
Like the every day I wake up and wish you were dead. That kind of.
Yeah. But
but it
from
has to have like real sting to it. And then
yeah,
the son wakes up and is just like stood in the door.
yeah. Oh, they're like, oh, sorry, go back to bed. It's nothing. We were just playing a game or whatever.
We're just talking. Yeah.
And then maybe as well, like the next day they're like, okay, let's go out. We can still try to fix this. We can rekindle what we had. And like it's got to the point where the husband's like, everywhere I go, I just like think about you and him. And it's to the point where even like maybe they took out the son, Tom and Fred Durst, and
Yeah. Sorry.
the son's like, oh, when are we gonna see Fred again? Fred Durst.
Yeah.
And then that's like the melting point for the husband, because he's
breaking
like, fucking hell, I don't want my son to look at him like a parental figure,
Like a father figure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Oh, okay.
in any way.
What if then? So, what if the husband then? So they both work, but like the husband, who we're just not going to give a name. He's just fine.
Yeah, the husband.
But what if he then has like a very more serious job? So he's like a big time lawyer, or something like that. Like something that means that he's not around as much.
Well, I think
So
not around as much, but works from home sort of thing. So like
okay.
he's always at home, but he's never really at home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, I like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
he's like, I don't know. I don't really know.
But-
Every job is working from home nowadays, but
This is true. We live in a society. um, do we want him to like have a close relationship with his son though?
nah,
But,
and that's
like, to
why
me, I
it
feel like
hit.
Tom should have the closer relationship.
Yeah, and that's why it hit
Yeah.
home, and that's why like the jump in thing hit more
Yeah.
with Tom and all that. Yeah.
Because so the husband, he's not like the stereotypical like deadbeat, that like when
Yeah.
not deadbeat, like when he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm really busy, like
Yeah.
he does try, but he can't connect with his son
Yeah,
in the
not as
same
much
way
as
that-
Tom.
Yeah. And now like Fred Durst comes in and he just clicks with his son. He's like, oh yeah, I used to
I used to do
went to
swimming.
the Olympics. I got
Yeah.
bronze medal in the diving or something like that.
Good Fred Durst thinks he's all that.
Yeah.
Move from
You see-
here.
Yeah. But maybe then the thing they do is they go diving
Yeah.
together, and Fred's like, oh yeah, I know a few things. I used to do so yeah. So what's his name's out? Tom's out with his son just for a walk
Yeah.
or whatever. Typical day, and they genuinely happen to bump into Fred.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they're like, like Fred's being all nice to the kid. He like gets down on one knee, so he's like the same height as the son, and he's
Okay. Okay.
and he's like, sorry, inappropriate, sorry. And he's like, hey, how you do? He gets the son. He's very nice.
Yeah.
With him. And then the son's like, oh, we're just about to go swimming. Do you want to come with? And he's like, oh, I probably should. And he's like, oh, please.
Well, I've got my trunks right here. I always carry a spare pair. Hell yeah, I'm coming.
So then they all go like diving or something, and then this is where you see he's like, yeah, I used to. And he like jumps from the top and he's doing all these flips and it lands in the water and it's like bloop. And yeah, so that's the day. Yeah, and then they come back to the house, and their hair's all like wet and disheveled, and they're like laughing and joking. They're like, ah! And the husband's at home, and he's like made a dinner for him. But like this is him like trying to like branch out and like be there more with his family. And he's like, where were you guys? I thought you said you'd be back at 4. And he was like, oh, sorry, we lost track of time. And he was like, and what's he doing here? And but it's real tense. We could do one of two things. We could either have them all sit down for dinner,
Right.
like all of them,
Mm-hmm.
or we could have it turn into like a little argument thing, and then the son gets upset and runs away to his room.
Yeah. Then the husband goes up after him. He's sort of like, oh, I wish Fred was
Yeah.
my dad. And that was
Yeah.
another massive pushing point.
Ooh,
And ugh,
that's what cuts deep. Yeah.
yeah,
Ooh. Okay. And then who is it then that goes up and talks to the son? We could have it be the husband, and they have
Yeah.
like an actual like bonding moment. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I like that. I like that. And then he's feeling more secure in himself and blah 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 blah. But and then the husband comes down and he's like, you see that the husband's not very confrontational usually in general,
hmm
but he comes in and he's like, you out of my house, and Fred's like, he's like, out. And they have this, it's not even like, it's the first time that you've seen the husband like stand up for himself.
yeah. Okay.
Like he's been, even like last time in the argument, it was that you could tell it came from like more of a place of insecurity.
Yeah.
But this time it's very much, he's like, no, I know my place, I know what we have, and blah blah blah. You know, he's very like sure of himself.
hmm
So he doesn't like yell or raise his voice. He's very calm and level headed, and he's just like to Tom. So what do you want from this, Tom? What do you want from me?
Yeah.
Does this family mean anything to you?
Ugh.
I'd never say. He's like, of course it does. How much I love you and Timmy. They call him Timmy
Yeah.
Turner or something like that. And he's like, I don't question it. I do not question your love for us at all.
You.
Even now, like I can see it in your eyes. You're still the same man that I married all those years ago. But there's something else in there. There's something I don't know if this is just like a midlife crisis for you or like an itch that you have to scratch. But
Yeah.
I don't know how long I can do this. I really don't.
Like, yikes. Oh.
Like I'm all for you expressing yourself, and however you want to get that out, that's up to you now.
God damn.
But I know I'm done. So you're either with this family or you're not. And he just walks out.
Oh.
There's just silence in the room, and it's just Tom sat in not like out of the house. He just like goes up to his room or whatever. His room. He's not a child. He goes up to his office
Yeah.
or something. And Tom's just stood there on his own. He just doesn't know what. And then like this is where the score kicks in.
Yeah.
I don't know what the score is, but it's like it's quiet. There are strings in there.
Yeah.
It's just like very calming and. And maybe he goes. So okay, so again in the same kind of like way it was shot when he first met, Fred Durst. It's like that, like that kind of like manic editing, kind of, and you see the panic and whatnot go over his face.
Yeah.
And it will be cut between him just like. So here, yeah, okay, no, never mind, no, hold off on that. So he picks up his coat and he goes out, and he is just looking at everything.
Yeah.
He's looking at the lights, he's looking at the stars and the sky and all that. Like, I know it sounds really cliche, but he's looking at the city.
Yeah.
And he's seeing people together and like families and like single people alike and blah 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 blah. And then he stops. And he just runs back home. He sprints back. No. Okay. So Fred doesn't live at his art studio. It's just like an art studio.
Yeah.
And he's given him keys to this place or whatever. So he gives him the keys to the place. He's like, use it whenever, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Fred's like, I mainly paint from my own. I express myself whenever I want, blah, blah. That kind of stuff. And so you see him, he gets in his car and he starts driving like manically to the art studio. So the whole film as well, in the back, there's been that kind of, paint who you are and let it out and blah, 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 And you hear like these words like go back through his head. You see it will cut to a shot of his phone in the passenger seat, and it will be like 2 missed calls from Fred Durst. There's a text from the husband as well.
Yeah.
And it will be like, I don't know where you are, but make sure you're safe. Blah, blah. It's something to the effect of that,
Yeah.
And the score's just picking up. and then it just cuts to him in the art studio, and it's just these manic cuts of him like slashing and painting and blah 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 like against the canvas, and it's just wild. And you see like him thinking about memories of him with his husband, of them meeting, of him like being happy again, because he hasn't been like happy in ages. So you see him like being happy with Fred Durst and doing more like the more adventurous stuff, and then it will cut to the family again, and then it cuts to him and Fred and his son all diving and blah blah blah, and it keeps going and going and going, and then it just cuts to like a single frame of the son, like center frame, looking at the camera, and then it match cuts to him doing the same like face, and he's just breathing heavily, and he looks over his canvas and smirks, and then it cuts to black.
Oh, damn, that was good. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Was that actually good?
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah?
Better than what I was thinking. So,
Sorry, I don't really know what happened. I kind of blacked.
No, that was really good. That was really good. Don't worry about it. But if we go for my alternate ending here, I thought that, so from the argument, I thought just cuts to 2 years later, and it's like what's happened? What has he chose? And it's going through his life again, as you've seen, but it's like it's not the same house. It's like it's clearly different. There's different things around. It's still like it's not like an apartment or anything. And then he's still doing the same thing, and then he comes home, son's at the dinner table, and Fred walks in. Oh, you think, oh, why has he split up the family? Whatever. He's like, oh, you're going back to your dad's tomorrow, have you enjoyed yourself here? And it's like, yeah, it's been fine, yeah. Can't wait to see him though, and all that, and but I like your ending better, because obviously that wouldn't be end, but I've got your end more on, because I was just thinking like, oh, if you ask me what do I think's gonna happen, I would just say, 2 years later, I think. It's like a big time jump.
Because we could do both, though.
No, but I like how you've left it open. You don't know what the painting is, but it's something that he wants or whatever.
Like he's come to a decision.
Yeah.
Like I don't know where it came from. Like genuinely, that sounds really pretentious.
Nah.
But like, it was just when you were talking, and I just had it so clearly in my head. Like I knew there was going to be a fight. I thought it would be after the original fight.
Yeah.
But I just knew, right, I know I want this to happen, and I could see it so clear in my head. He's like driving through like LA.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of, it's very like atmospheric and dark and moody. Like it's lit like, like a scene from Drive.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of, yeah. But what I'm saying is that, like, I still really liked your idea.
Yeah.
So we could do both. Like, we could have it, like, cut to black. And it's, like, 2 years later.
No. That ruins it. Your ending's too good. Because I like...
Sure?
I like how it's just up for sort of interpretation. You don't know what he's going to choose, but it's like, Yeah. It's up to the viewer to decide what they think could happen, because this thing of like the dive in, that could be interspliced in there with the whole like what he's thinking and stuff, and you just don't know. What would the viewer choose in that situation? Like, what would they do? Let us know. Tell us. What would you do?
I feel like like it didn't come across as much,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't want anyone to be painted in a bad light.
Yeah, I get that. The real,
like, but definitely between the two characters, not in a bad light, but like I don't want anyone to be painted as black and white. Sorry,
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Like, I don't want anyone to be completely good or completely bad, because that's
the real
unrealistic.
villain
That's not what people are.
is the child. No.
He goes like, "God damn it, woman!"
yeah, I guess
Mm.
we just leave it there then.
Yeah. I feel like we always pick it up at the endings.
Yeah,
Like it all like we
it all
kind of
comes
start and
together.
then we're like and then maybe ooh and then yeah ooh and then like the ending like we'll like
It all
crescendo
comes
and then
together.
we're like
Yeah,
so yeah I have nothing but faith between us now. Like I feel like at any point if we're ever like we'll always find a way to
yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah. I think that went quite well. Like for a completely original. Yeah.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah, I do. I think so. It was there was ideas in there, but it was hard to come around the whole like. Oh my god, I was just gonna say it was hard to come around the the what is the word I'm looking for here? We say it every week. The game changers. There we go. Sorry,
Real. Oh, game changers.
but we didn't even make it R rated.
Real.
That's the thing.
Oh,
We completely forgot.
maybe there's like. Oh shit! Yeah.
Oops.
Oh, fuck. Maybe there's like a sex. Yeah, maybe there's sex in it then.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
you
We'll
see.
just go for
Oh
that.
yeah. So you see Tom and his husband have sex
Yeah. There you go.
right at the beginning of the film, but it's very like loveless. It's just they're just going through the motion.
We hit it.
Also,
Yeah, we hit him.
also, if you look at what is it the NAACP or whatever the people who do like the rating systems
Yeah.
like for movies. Yeah, if you have, I don't know what it is if it's like that anymore, but I know at one point if there's like a softcore like love scene in a film,
Yeah.
you can get away with the film like between a heterosexual couple, you can get away with it being like a 12A or something like that. But if it has gay people doing the same thing, then it goes up to a 15 or something,
I see. Well,
which is crazy.
there should also be some heavy F words in there. Lots of swearing. That pushes it up a bit as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just going on a little bit now. I think we should bring it to a close.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Bring it all together.
It's a nice one. Follow our socials as always.
Yeah.
That Real Podcast or
Yeah.
Reinventing the Real. Make sure you check out the YouTube channel as
Reinventing
well.
the real one.
They've got 2 reactions out now, real reactions, pretty good. Go have a watch. And
Should have another one coming out soon.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been Cameron.
Cool. And I've been Curtis.
See you later, man.
Been reinventing the real. See you later, man.